everyone, check it out. I actually did my hair today. This is the first time, I think, in 2 weeks. How have you been doing with your hygiene? Have you been brushing your teeth, doing your hair? I don't know, just kind of messing around. Hope you're doing well. We are in day 2, our second devotional, working through 1 Peter. I hope you are joining with us. It's going to be an incredible study. There's so much that Peter has to say to us. As you saw, Aaron kick that off yesterday, and just so much in the first couple verses. I'm taking the next little bit section of 1 Peter, verses 3 through 9 in the first chapter. There's so much in this. I probably bit off a little bit more. So I want to encourage you, go do the devotional. It's at the bottom of this study or this video, and work through it. Take some time. Peter, in this text, he does so much in these few verses. He reminds us of some of the most important things that we need to be reminded of. First off, he reminds us that we are only saved, or we only have a relationship with God because of God's mercy and allowing Jesus to go to the cross and not just die on the cross, but then 3 days later walk out of that tomb, which we will celebrate here really soon. But because of that, you guys, Jesus paid for our sin. Our sin is our brokenness. Our sin is anything that separates us from God, who is perfectly holy, perfectly pure. And because we sin, like as human beings, we naturally fall short. Paul tells us all have fallen short of the glory of God. And so every single one of us sin. And because just one sin, it doesn't matter if it's small or large, whether we think it's small or large, like that one thing, it breaks us from being able to have a relationship with God. And so therefore we need to be saved. Like that's a term we see around church a lot, the idea of like, hey, I'm saved. Because we have to be saved from ourselves, because sin separates us from God and we have to be saved from that. And so Jesus, when he goes to the cross, he pays a price for us that we can't pay. And so Peter talks about that in this first little bit of verses 3 through 5. And then he goes on to say that God has an incredible inheritance for us, an incredible gift. I don't know if you've ever received just an incredible gift that you think is so valuable and you love. Like Peter goes on to say, God has something so much more in store for us. And so that's where he says, like, we should have incredible hope, you guys, that what we have here on earth, like, that's not what it's all about. Like, God's word is so clear that there is so much more for us if we will just persevere. And I know right now, I don't know how you guys are feeling through this. I know it's really kind of hitting me of like just being bummed, not being able to go out. And Peter even talks about the fact that we're going to face some trials. And as Christians, we're not immune to those, but we have a hope that a lot of people don't have. And so I just want to encourage you, if you are struggling right now, and maybe that hasn't really hit you yet, but you've gone through trials in your life, or maybe you're in the midst of a totally different type of trial. Like Peter talks about that, but he says, hey, when all that's said and done, if we maintain our faith, we maintain our hope in Jesus, and we trust the resurrection, that we are going to receive an inheritance that is so much greater than what we could ever dream of, ever imagine, and that there's so much hope, and like we should celebrate the fact that that's coming. And so I want to challenge you to go read this text and be reminded of a few things. One, that we all need Jesus. Like we don't deserve Jesus, but we need him. And because of him, we have a relationship with God. And it doesn't stop there. Like heaven is not just the reward. There's even more to it. And then, so I'd say second, remind you that we have an incredible inheritance coming one day when we stand before Jesus and we're perfected and we're completely forgiven. And I'd say lastly, that everyone you know needs this hope. Like everyone you know. And just because you're stuck in your house doesn't mean you cannot share your faith. Doesn't mean that you cannot be praying for people. Everyone we know needs Jesus. But I want to challenge you, if you're feeling down, to find hope in Jesus. And then if you are kind of just rolling right through this, and I know some of you're making about 10 TikToks a day, purpose some time to be with Jesus, and maybe reach out to some people that might be suffering and might be struggling during this time. So hey, I hope you will engage this text. I hope that God will speak to you through it. And whatever time you're watching this, wherever you're watching this, we're praying for you. We love you. Let us know how we could be supporting you even more. All right. See you guys. Bye.